zoning sort of procedure, and the first case I'm going to call today is Z 23098, the Lamar advertising case. This is a request for a variation to increase the overall height of the new relocated electronic message center sign from permitted 20 feet overall height to approximately 60 feet. Secondly, a variation to increase the sign square footage from the permitted 50 square feet to approximately 672 square feet per face. That's 1344 in total. And then finally, a conditional use to permit the installation of a 14 by 48 LED digital display panels, namely electronic message center sign, on the newly relocated sign structure. Matter was published in the Daily Herald on December 26, 2023, and I have no comments or objections from the various authorities to whom we've circulated the petition, including neighboring municipalities and departments of the county. Could you just enumerate the exhibits?
Yeah, exhibit number 1 is site plan / survey. Exhibit number 2 is an aerial showing pretty much the northern half or north of North Avenue at Swift. Exhibit 3 is another aerial, which is slightly larger area. Exhibit 4 is the view of the static sign going west to east, street view. And exhibit 5 is shows the current view going east to west from the street side. Exhibit 6 is the GIS zoning district map for the particular property and nearby areas. Exhibit 7 is the sign location lease. Exhibit 8 is a letter from Daktronics dated December 18th, 2023, doing a lighting analysis, showing the lighting analysis, and attached to that on the third page is the foot candle measurements from the proposed light. And exhibit 9 is a study from July 7th, 2007 from Tantala, Tantala, regarding called a study of the relationship between digital billboards and traffic safety in Cuyahoga County, Illinois. And exhibit 10 is the tax bill for the subject property.
Well, I'll receive them all, but let's talk about the tax bill. What's the purpose of?
I think that was to show ownership. We have to do that for our application.
Oh, okay. Well, those aren't typically hearing exhibits. They're just file records.
Then you know what, we'll draw it to
Draw 9. Okay. Was that 9 or 10?
that's 10.
Sorry. Okay. Why don't you go right ahead? It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I mean, it's very similar to many of the ones we've done in the past. I won't go through what the conditional use or the variations are. You've already mentioned them. As you know, variation and conditional use standards in the ordinance are similar, except for the need to show hardship to the variance. Conditional uses falls under the living word case, and whether there's something unique about this sign in this location that would cause adverse effects that would not occur anywhere else in the county. The first standard of the common standards, not injurious to neighborhood, detrimental to public health, welfare, or conflicting with comprehensive plan. You would point to exhibits 2 and 3 and the surrounding uses, which aren't all that easy to tell from these, but directly to the north is a firewood sales, B1 use. Directly to the east is a tire shop that's on the Hoffman property or on the property that is subject to this conditional use. And further across Swift Road is, I think that's a Thornton's, if I remember correctly, or it's a Speedway, excuse me, gas station. Very large gas station with diesel pumps as well as regular. To the south, you have a vacant building, which is B2, as well as a bunch of property that is owned by a very large religious institution and church. And to the west, directly to the west, you have at Glendale Heights, large industrial building that's a few 100,000 square foot industrial. And just to kind of go to the southeast, you have again a large gas station, Casey's, that has both regular car and truck traffic. Exhibits 4 and 5 kind of just show you what the properties look like, or the property looks like coming from both directions on North Avenue. And for the most part, as also seen in Exhibit 6, all the area is commercially zoned. If you look to Exhibit 7, so I'll explain it, we really don't need to talk about that, but if you look to Exhibit 8, which is the electronics, find where I put it. That shows the foot candles and the fact that in the area where there is where the sign will actually be able to be, the lighting is very little, if no effect on any residential properties. Everything to the south, actually, within the grid is actually not even residential, that's commercial. So you can see that this, almost all the properties that are being affected at all are commercial business type properties, which are already being affected by the amount of traffic, the lights, the fact that they're next to a gas station, etc. The current sign has been in place for decades. I'm not even sure how long. You've lived in this area a long time, Mr. Carthon. You've been there since, at least when I've been going to work the last 30 years.
I don't pay any attention to billboard signs. No.
But it's been there,
I'm familiar with it.
but it's been there for a long time. Let's just leave it at that. I can't even remember.
But what, can you just for the record get the size of the current sign?
The size of the current sign is 14 by 48. We're just duplicating that sign on the other side.
And the height of
Is
this?
the 60 foot. We're not changing any of the heights. We're
Okay.
just duplicating the current existing sign on the other side.
And this,
And adding an LED heights.
and then the LED will refresh in accordance with regulation.
IDOT regulations, which obviously I think are 8 seconds. Or 6, whatever the IDOT regulations are.
Yeah, but we only sell 8 slots.
Oh, really? So your refresh is less than.
Technology, you can load up 24 slots if you wanted by technology with the computer, but Lamar only sells 8 slots.
Okay.
Or programs
You know,
8 slots.
we didn't swear either one of you in because Eileen's not here to remind me. Do you and each of you swear or affirm that the testimony that you will give and have given in this proceeding will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Great, thank you.
No objections been filed by the local municipalities or agencies. Obviously, this will not impair light to adjacent property. It's the same shadow that's pretty much occurring already, and what is going to be seen is going to be directly on industrial property. Won't diminish the value of surrounding land because, as we talked about, it's harmony with the current uses in the neighborhood, which are all commercial, all industrial type uses. Sign is facing away from residents to the north, and the first resident to the south is too far away to have any light intrusion. Again, large gas stations and church in the area, and it's already on an industrial zone property, commercial. Obviously, Route 64, I shouldn't say obviously, Route 64 at this point is heavily trafficked, right off the I-355. I think we're probably 200-300 yards from the I-355 Route 64 intersection. Next standard does not increase traffic congestion, will be visible primarily the westbound Route 64, that will not increase any traffic on Route 64. And we'll discuss the safety and traffic issue shortly. There's no increased chance of flooding. We're not adding any impervious surface. We're going off one pole. Does not increase public expense for fire protection, rescue relief. Again, it's an existing sign location. No concerns were noted by the health department or any fire protection districts or municipalities. Does not otherwise impair the public health, safety, and welfare, etc. It's already talked about. It doesn't really, it fits the neighborhood, so there's no problem or concern with the neighborhood. Exhibit 9 in front of you is a study that was done in Ohio on this issue. We're unaware of any study that disagrees with the study that LED signs are safe In fact, over 40 states have now allowed LED signs. The other studies we have seen, the later studies do not disagree with this study. And like I said, more and more states every day are granting this. This has also been reviewed, this issue of LED signs by transportation officials in South Carolina and West Virginia, and have not found there not to be any increase in traffic accidents due to LED billboards. US DOT has found message signs to be acceptable to them as well, meaning LED changeable signs. And as besides the lack of additional accidents or additional benefits to the public, they have the ability to dim themselves. They have the ability to put out safety alerts, amber alerts, etc., and we tie them into the local amber alerts so that we can make those kinds of notices immediately for people when necessary. And as we've talked about in the past with LEDs, these types of signs, any construction or modification to an LED sign is completely subject to compliance with IDOT's approval, permitting regulations. As far as hardship, the current sign already has the same height and size. To build lower would not allow the sign to be visible from the industrial on both sides, and would cause the sign to be two different heights and two different sizes, and actually cause more of a problem than the sign at one location and one height. Current billboards on state highways are not being built smaller than 14 by 48 at this point. They don't work, they don't make sense. So that's why we need the existing size, and it also makes the most sense given that that's the size on the other side. Okay. In summary, it's a good place for this type of sign. No residential area, it's relatively unpopulated area for residences, and already heavily trafficked and a lot of lighting, just given the fact that you have these two very large gas stations already occurring at night. In conclusion, the conditional use, there's nothing unique about this sign in this location that would cause adverse effects that would not occur anywhere in the county, per the living word Supreme Court standard. As far as hardship, the existing pole sign's not visible, if not the same height as existing, and makes no sense to have two signs of two different heights. And LED signs are not currently made smaller than 14 by 48 for these types of locations to be visible, and it's the same size as the one on the other side. So we're not really, it makes the most sense to do that instead of having two different sizes of signs.
Okay, just address the lighting of the sign.
The lighting of the sign is LED, it's internal. It's not an external.
Like a backlit sign, no exterior lighting focusing on the sign.
Correct.
And is the lighting on 24/7?
It's on, but it diminishes based on the time of day. So at night, it's actually lesser than it is during the day.
Okay, so that all seems consistent with regulation. I don't think we need any conditions on that. What about the pole itself, as to the, just the safety of the pole? What kind of pole? There's a couple kinds of poles. Could you just put in the record the issue about?
It'll be a steel monopole, and as reflected on the survey, it will be moved out. Because to handle the weight of these two new panels, it will have to be a new column, brand new column,
Okay.
that will be put in for safety.
And is the pad or footprint of the sign in any way fenced so as to prohibit miscreants from trying to climb up the pole and fall off, or what's the
There is a ladder on the column, and then Lamar Operations has their own portable ladders that hook onto that ladder. They go up, so the ladder itself is, I would guess, 10 to 12 feet on the column. It's not easily accessible for any.
Therefore, it's not accessible.
Right, it's not accessible, but there is, because of the height of 60 feet, they have to have a ladder on it, because they'll change the vinyl copy on the west face for eastbound traffic. That'll be what we call a vinyl, and that could be changed once a month. It could be once a year if they do what's called a perm. I mean, if Phil's firm decided to buy that board and have it for the whole year, they would go out and change it one time. That's a
That's
pitch.
part of the fee.
That's a pitch there for you.
It could be a condition that it's $1 a year.
Well, I will bring up, Phil did bring up the Amber Alert, and Silver Alert. And this is kind of a unique situation because we're in the county. But in some of our municipalities here in Illinois and in Indiana, if it's in the municipality, if the 8 slots are not sold out, we offer space available advertising. So if someone has 4th of July parade, breakfast with the Easter Bunny, or, you know, there's some other emergency, God forbid, there's a water main break or a gas line break, you know, we have the ability to put that stuff up within 15 minutes of notification. We have a national operating center in Baton Rouge that monitors every single digital across the country.
That's
So they know, like when a circuit goes out, they'll know. If you see like a black square, black dot, red square, they get out and we have our digital technicians go out and service those immediately.
So, some years ago, my daughter's, middle school, applied for a sign, and I made, sort of an off-the-record arrangement that, there be a display indicating that she was the student of the century. And I never got around to sort of resolving that, just last thing, some
Just for a
quick-
second.
Yeah, I just need a picture. And no Photoshop.
Well, when I came in, and I don't know if it's what we call a public service announcement, but the last one that we were granted by the county, the back-to-back digital at Roosevelt 355, Special Olympics was on, that rotation when I was sitting there at the stoplight coming off 355, getting on the Roosevelt. So, I don't know if that's, I'm assuming it's a PSA, which is a different rate card. It's cheaper for those organizations to buy advertising than, I would say, for Mariano's or
I wasn't
McDonald's.
suggesting that there are any purchases. Okay, back to reality. Your lease, which is an exhibit, talks about the restoration of the property at such time as the sign is removed. So can we include language from that lease as a condition?
Yes.
And then what have we done? So, you know, the world is changing fast. And I don't know how long billboard signs are gonna be an effective commercial reality. But have we put time limits on your prior? And I seem to recall discussing that in the past. Okay, so I won't put a time limit on this either.
You could put a condition, you have to come back every year and do one, just so you can make
It is-
that extra bucks.
It is a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun. Well, I always like to see you, but I mean, you know, can we set them like for spring or something instead of the middle of winter? Okay, maybe we should be a little careful about the record in case anybody from the county board turns the tape on, which I seriously doubt. Okay, I don't have any other questions. I think this is pretty straightforward. I don't want to indicate that, you know, the matter is finally resolved in any way, but, you know, the drill, I take it under consideration and then you get a decision shortly. I don't see any distinction between this sign and the several others that you have brought to us or others have brought to us. So I'm inclined to, my recommendation would be consistent. And that's it. That's all I have.
Thank you,
Sure.
sir.
Great. We'll call the case of 23097, the Gaffney petition. This is a variation to reduce the interior side setback from the required 10 feet to approximately 5 feet for an aircraft hangar in Aero Estates fly-in community. The matter was published in the Daily Herald on December 26, 2023. And the case has been circulated for comment to all of the neighboring communities, various authorities, plus departments of the county, and I have no substantive comments from or objections from any such entities. Could you, well, let's before we do exhibits, let's have you both sworn in if we could.
You solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony and evidence you're about to give at this time shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Go ahead.
I do.
I do as well.
All right, would you read your exhibits into the record, and if you would start with a survey as one and a site plan as two.
Sure, we'd be happy to.
Well, first identify yourself.
My name's Brian Gaffney. I'm the homeowner, property owner at 9 South 181 Chairman.
Thank you, Brian.
And my name is Kelly Flynn, F as in Frank, Linn. Kelly is spelled Kelley. Yes, my parents did name me that. It's rough. I'm here as the attorney present on behalf of Gaffney family.
Right, thank you.
At this time, we would ask that we submit, you said exhibit 1, or would you prefer exhibit A?
Survey is one, well, I don't care.
Okay.
One, we usually do one is survey and two is site plan.
Perfect.
And the others that I see, I have a few things in front of me, so you can enumerate those as well.
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor. Yes, sir.
My parents didn't name me, but I didn't. They didn't
As you can
name me
tell,
honorable,
my
but I-
court data coming out.
Right.
I would move, the survey as, Gaffney Exhibit 1, Petitioner Exhibit 1, the site plan as Petitioner Exhibit 2, the septic replacement plan as Exhibit 3. I would also ask that we move our, narration. I believe that you have that as well. It starts with variation section 37-114.3 that just lays out our reply to the standards as exhibit 4. If I may have one more moment. Let's see.
Yeah,
Let's skip to that one.
That's the real estate value one, or?
The narration is actually a few pages of a document. It should be 1, 2, 3 handwritten pages, and then the comparable document is the 4th page to that.
Okay, we'll take that as group exhibit 3.
Yes,
But I
please.
don't have all of that. I
Okay.
have-
May I?
Sure, sir.
Do you mind if I mark it for you so that it's
Go right ahead.
consistent? Group exhibit 3. Do you have the septic tank replacement plan?
Yes,
Okay, perfect. Here's group exhibit 3, sir.
you. Okay, I will note for the record that we've had similar cases, very similar cases in this neighborhood. Going back some time, I don't recall any recently. But it's my recollection that airplane hangars in this neighborhood are quite common. Is that, can you refresh my recollection about that?
Sure, would you like to start?
yeah, they're pretty common. 80% of the hangars, we have 99 homes in the neighborhood, 79 of which have hangars. So it's very in line with the theme of the neighborhood.
Okay,
And we can actually give you exhibit 4, which is just a snapshot of Arrow Estates, which actually shows how most of the properties do have hangars on the property as well, if you'd like
okay,
to see it.
that'd be great.
Just an area view. And I marked it for you already.
Good, thanks.
And I think just to kind of refresh your recollection a little bit in terms of the hangars that you have dealt with before in this neighborhood, a lot of them were requested at the time of the building of the properties. Arrow Estate is a very common flying community in this area. And many of the homeowners built a hangar at the time that they built their homes. That's not what we're asking to do, obviously, but I just wanted to put forward that information as well.
Okay. So just basically, the only real issue that we need to resolve is why the setback variation.
We're infringed upon our building of the hangar by 3 different setbacks. This 10-foot septic setback, the 30-foot setback from the taxiway that's protected for wing clearance, and then the adjacent property setback of 5 feet, of 10 feet, 5 of which are utility and drainage isn't that we're not asking to build on.
So that satisfies the hardship, practical difficulty, unique circumstance threshold requirement.
Yes.
What else do you have that you want to offer?
The thing is with the 45 feet that we have now, the reason we're asking for 50 is it basically allows us to put in the standard size hanger in aerostates. And when you talk about hangers, the nuts and bolts is the size of the door. And you've got to have at least a 45-foot door to fit all of the aircraft that fly in and out of Neighbor Aero. So you would eliminate numerous aircraft if you could only build 45-foot building. The door with the shear walls would have to be much smaller.
Okay.
That would not allow us to get multiple planes, as well as when we go to sell, it's going to exclude numerous buyers from that process.
In your earlier remarks about the setback are related in part to the exhibit 3, the septic tank replacement plan, is that right?
Exhibit 2, excuse me.
2?
Yeah, the reason I put the septic was because when we had the survey done this year, it was the south end was depicted, but the lines were not. And I wanted to provide information just so you guys knew that the lines are in fact going north and not south.
Okay,
So the health department has asked that question as well.
and the health department has resolved that as of yesterday?
Yeah.
Correct.
So this is fairly topical.
Yeah.
But so are doors and bolts with respect to aircrafts lately. Okay, I don't have anything else. I think we have a clean record. So if there's nothing else that you want to offer.
If I may just, I
Sure.
think we were talking about home values. We established those comparables so that you could see that it would increase the value of the neighboring homes as well. And I would ask that you take that into consideration for the opposite. If we were to build a less than standard hangar, that would affect not only the sale price value of the home if we were to go sell it, but also the neighboring areas, because they would feel like they might not be able to have a hangar themselves.
Okay, great. I'll note for the record that there's no one here to make, no one other than the petitioner's team to make comments, so I won't call for public comment. I'm ready to close the record and we'll make our decision in the next week or so, and then refer the matter to the development committee, which is that the February 6th date that you were? Yes. So the development committee is the next step. They will meet February 6th to evaluate this record and my recommendation. And then the matter goes to the full county board for a final administrative determination. So that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to call the All In Automotive LLC petition, which is 23094. This is a matter that was continued from December 6th for various reasons. I understand that there may be some amendments and additional petitions filed by this petitioner. I don't know the details of that, but I know enough that I believe the matter needs to be continued. The petitioner did not appear today. So I will simply continue this matter from today's date to February 7, 2024 at 2:30. If the matter is ready to move forward at that time, I will conduct a substantive hearing. If not, I'll simply continue it as appropriate or dismiss it. So that's all off the record.